So you've just been let go from your job. Join the club, buddy. We've all been there. But what are your next steps? That's the hardest thing to figure out. So, number one, were you laid off from your job or were you fired from your job? There's a big difference between the two of them. Were you laid off where the company was readjusting, restructuring, the investors no longer wanted to pay your salary, they figured that your department was dead and so they no longer needed you there. We've all been down that route. And getting laid off sucks, especially if you don't expect it. I recently was laid off from my job, and frankly, you know, it puts you through the ringer for a little bit. If you were fired from your job, you have nobody to blame but you. You were the reason that you got let go. Period. I don't care if your boss was a jackass. I don't care if they set you up to fail. There was something that you could have done better in that job that would have prevented you from getting fired. My last job, I was set up to fail, period. They tried everything that they could to help me, but the recruiter that brought me into that company, frankly, put me in a position that was way higher than my level. I had 2 years of experience at a little shit company for doing what I do, and frankly, they put me in a level that needed 4 to 5 years experience, and I just wasn't there. And so they did whatever, my bosses did whatever they could to help me, HR did whatever they could to help me, but frankly, I got to a point where I was like, I saw the writing on the wall and I was going to get fired. So I beat them to the punch and said, "See ya, I quit." So if you got fired, you fucked up. Sit and admit it, be willing to accept it, and that's where you're going to start to grow. If you just sit and blame everybody else that you got fired, well, hey, buddy, it's going to happen again, so you better get used to it. So, were you fired or were you laid off? The next steps are pretty much work for either, but with a couple iterations here and there. So, to find your next job, number one, update your resume. Everybody says it, but are you really going into your resume and talking about your last job, talking about your responsibilities, talking about, I do search engine optimization for a living. I'm going in, I'm boosting the traffic of these websites, I'm owning these websites, I'm leading these teams to make the content on these sites better. I'm leading those teams to make, the technical background of these sites better. Stuff like that, that's what I'm saying on my resume. I'm also including numbers, traffic growth, new users, any ranking growth, stuff like that, which is very specific to my field. I'm putting on my resume because I want potential employers to see that I have a proven track record of success. You're not just going to put on your resume that you communicate effectively or that you know how to use Microsoft Excel. It's almost 2020. Everybody should know how to communicate effectively and how to use Excel. If you can't, maybe you should learn that before you try to find your next job because those are pretty simple skills. Number two, change your LinkedIn status. Number one, have a LinkedIn, but change your LinkedIn status. LinkedIn is a fantastic place to network, to talk to people. It's essentially a Facebook for professionals. And it's also an avenue for recruiters to find you, for you to potentially find other jobs because they have their own job board, to reach out to people that you know that may be hiring your position. That's, it's a free service that you can go and you could potentially find your next job. I don't care what you do for a living. You could be a garbage man, you could be a teacher, you could do what I do, you could be a CEO. Everybody should have a LinkedIn. Even if you only check it once a month, it's still important to have. So go in, update your status to open to new opportunities, and a lot of the time recruiters will reach out to you because they're looking for somebody to fill a position that fits your credentials. Number three, get in contact with recruiters. Either they find you or you find them. But reach out, get in contact with them, and try to find and try to have like a legitimate conversation with them, because you're going to find that there's really two recruiters in this world. There is a fantastic recruiter, and there's somebody that's not good, and that they're looking out for themselves and not looking out for you. And the people that are looking out for themselves, it's going to be very easy to find them. If they're recommending jobs where you take a heavy pay cut, if they're recommending jobs where you aren't even close to the experience level that they're trying to fill you in, if all they're saying is, hey, I know you're not going to make as much money as you did at your last company, but it's a great company. They hand out drinks on Fridays. I don't care. If you go and you put out everything on your resume, you send that over to them, you have a legitimate conversation that these are the requirements that need to be met for me to go and work, to even consider working for that company. That's it, period. And any recruiter should take that and understand, okay, we're not looking for somebody to fill a position that has 3 years experience, but this position requires 7, because those recruiters should not be recruiters. They need to go find another job, frankly, because it's not a good practice. You're trying to put people in a position where you're setting them up to fail just so you can make a commission. That's not a good look on your part or on their part. So, get in contact with a good recruiter. Find somebody that you mesh well with. And what's so important about that is, while you're out and you're looking at the jobs that they send you, while you're doing research on a company, there's somebody that you can talk to. There's somebody that you can, shoot ideas off of and say, hey, maybe this is a good company, or maybe, this isn't the best space for me. A lot of the time, they also reach out and give you recommendations on what to talk about in interviews, what things to stay away from. Their job is to get you a job, and the good recruiters will get you the job you want. Which brings me to my next point. Search on the job boards. Obviously, this is pretty, well, I already said obvious, but this is really obvious. Go on Indeed, go on LinkedIn Jobs, go on ZipRecruiter, go on Monster.com. There's 100 of these job sites that these places post to. But going and looking at what opportunities there are out there that are in your that would fit your requirements, you're almost acting as your own recruiter. Lay out your requirements, find jobs that could potentially, be future employers, and then take those and reach out to your recruiter about them. A good recruiter, all they care about is getting you your next job. They don't really care that much about the commission. They want to help people. And so, if you're reaching out saying, hey, I have company A, B, and C, what's their reputation? A lot of the time they say, well, company A and B are notorious for underpaying their employers. Company C has a really bad reputation. But company A they might underpay, but they also have a pretty proven track record for taking their low-level employees and pushing them and advancing them fairly quickly. So that of the three, that may be the best one to go to. I have 2 recruiters I'm currently working with that have been fantastic, and frankly, if it wasn't for them, there would be a lot of places I would be sending my application to that, frankly, I would not like working at. So search job boards, take the companies that are there, reach out to your recruiters, and see what their opinion on that is. The more transparent you are with them, the better that they can do their job. Because if you're applying for all these jobs in the background and then they get a job and they're like, oh, wow, Steve would do great at this. This is going to give me an opportunity to reach out to this company and talk to them. But you already applied to them 2 weeks before and they don't know about that. Well, then that kind of puts them in a tough situation. So be forward about who you're applying to. Finally, number 5, reassess your situation. Do you like what you do? There hasn't been a time where I've been unemployed that I've considered going into a different field. Like I said, I'm a search engine optimization specialist for a living. It's kind of a tough job. There's not a lot of us out there, and not a lot of those people want to, sit at a desk all day. But I will tell you, I've done plenty of other jobs. I've worked with my hands for a living. I've worked in retail. I've worked in education. And frankly, this is where I want to be. Although I've been down routes where it's like, is that, do I really want to be there or no? And now I'm able to answer and say, okay, this is what I want to do for a living, and I want to do it well. Where there are other people that, are saying, hey, I'm getting in my later 20s, and frankly, I don't have much to say about my career, or I don't like what I do. It's the perfect opportunity, if you have just recently been laid off, to go and get educated on what you potentially want to do. If you're a nurse and you can't stand being a nurse, then maybe it's time to go and do something else. If you do what I do, if you are a recruiter and hate finding other people jobs and want to find yourself a good job that you actually enjoy doing, so you're not on the phone all day and you're not talking to all these people, that might be a good opportunity. Some people, a lot of people use the scapegoat of going into sales, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but they find out a year or 2 years later how much they really hate sales. So take the time that you're fucking unemployed to reassess what you want to do. Do you want to do this for the rest of your life? If not, what are your other options? Also, you have to consider what's your financial situation? What's your living situation? Do you have kids? Do you have a family? What's your, insurance and all that? Because if you have no money to your name, you could barely make ends meet to put the roof over your head, maybe this isn't the best time to reassess what you want to do. Because if, let's say I am, working in retail and I'm the floor manager and I can't stand working weekends. I don't want to work as a floor manager anymore. This probably isn't the best time to go to nursing school, or probably isn't the best time to go to a elongated program where you're making zero money. You need to go and find a job that's going to put food in your kid's mouth for now, but you're also going to have to work hard outside of that, because you're going to have to go and find a place where you can get the education that you need to go and work at this next job. I mean, that's the thing that sucks these days, is everybody wants education, but not a lot of people are willing to put in the hard work to do it. And I'm not saying that you have to go to college, but you have to learn to be a truck driver. You have to learn to be a carpenter. You have to learn to be a garbage man. These aren't just skills that come out of nowhere. So, if you really do hate what you do, reassess, figure out what you want to do, and start taking the next steps towards that. Look at your situation. Say, okay, I have $10,000 saved. I have 5 months worth of rent or mortgage that I can get the family by off of my savings while I go and learn to do my next job, the job that I want to do. Also, when you get that next job, that job that you wanted to do, you're starting all over, which could be scary, and anybody that's willing to do it, my hat's off to you, because that takes balls. But at the same time, you have to be willing to accept a much less salary if you were, than somewhere where you had 5-10 years experience, because you're taking all that experience and you're throwing it away. But if that experience means nothing to you, then that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But at least you're in a situation where you can put food in your mouth, keep a roof over your head, and, keep your kids safe, but at the same time, go and start a new career. So I wish everyone luck. I'm currently in the job market, as well as everybody else that's been recently laid off or fired. And so I wish you all the best of luck. I hope these, quick tips have helped you, even though I talked for a million years. And if anybody has questions, I'm not, the best when it comes to finding a new job, but at the same time, I can help, I guess. I'm not, I guess I'm okay at being unemployed. But if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'd be more than happy to answer them. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I guess I'll see you next time.